Okay, so today we will learn deflection calculations for a pin jointed plane frames using the unit load method concept. Using the unit load method concept. Okay, right. So now deflection of a pin jointed plane frame. Deflection of a pin jointed plane frame. So when we talk about the deflection of a pin jointed plane frame, so normally we see the trusses. Okay, normally we see the trusses in civil engineering applications, to be more precise, for bridges. Okay, for bridges, for bridge structures. So what will happen? So there are various ways that it can deflect due to moving load, due to moving load, due to temperature, and another thing is riveting and bolting. Riveting and bolting. So now the thing is, a bridge structure will try to deflect when a moving load, when a vehicle is moving from one end to the other end, or the truss shaped configuration of a bridge would deflect when there is a temperature variation, or the truss shaped, because it is a pin, we are trying to connect it with a small pin joint, so it can be a bolt or a rivet. So that will also try to deflect under the action of external load or the temperature. So in order to address, or in order to calculate the deflection of a pin jointed plane frame, which is also called as a truss, we have to use some of the methods. So what are the methods that are to be used to calculate the deflection of a pin jointed plane frame? So the methods are, there are famous methods. I will say three important methods which are very important. First one, conjugate beam method. Conjugate beam method. Oh, sorry. Let me say Castigliano's theorem. Instead of saying conjugate beam method, Castigliano's theorem. Castigliano's theorem. I have written conjugate beam method because you can also use conjugate beam method concept to calculate the deflection of a pin jointed plane frame, but it is linked to something else. So let us not touch that now. So now the second method is the unit load method. Unit load method. Third one is stiffness method. Stiffness method. So we are actually right now looking into unit load method, or we can say that to some extent we can also use Castigliano's theorem. But stiffness method is one of the popular methods in the current context of 21st century, where that gives lot of ease in terms of calculating the deflections of a pin jointed plane frame. Okay, but that topic we'll be studying in the advanced courses. So now here we will try to see how to use the concept of unit load method to calculate the deflection at any given point, and how a truss can deflect either horizontally or vertically. So how is that going to happen? So if I take an example, here you have a truss. Okay, so you have a truss, and what do we need to do here in the formulation of the truss? You need to understand that, see, just, yeah, so you can see that I'm just trying to show with some example. So you have a triangular truss of this configuration. You can see that the top end was jointed together with the help of a pin support, with the help of a pin support. So when I'm holding it tight, like a pin jointed support, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. But whenever there is some load or some sort of deviation because of the load or temperature, what will happen? This will either move horizontally or move vertically. Move horizontal. So if it moves horizontal, what will happen? There is a chance that the connection might be lost and these two members may not be intact with each other. So this is horizontal deflection and this is vertical deflection. So in simple terms, I can also put it like, so you can see that this is also one simple example with my finger. You can see here, so my fingers are moving down. So there is a chance that it might deflect downwards, or this can move towards right or left, depending upon the atmospheric conditions due to temperature change, external loading conditions, or the pin connection that has been provided there, whatever the reason it might be. So that's where we have to introduce the concept of the the unit load method and try to assess the deflections associated with each of these conditions. Okay, so now let us try to calculate or try to derive the expression for the calculation of deflection using unit load method. Okay, using unit load method. Now you can see that. So unit load method. So if you say the unit load method, first of all, if it can be applied to any type of a truss, both in simple supported or a cantilever truss, anything we can use. But the basic fundamental concept is energy, strain energy. The fundamental concept associated with unit load method is strain energy, is strain energy, which can be given by, so using energy equation, deflection of a structure. So using energy equation, deflection of a structure deflection of a structure is given by an expression delta is equal to integral p dash e dv. So I'll try to talk about that. So we have already learned the concept of strain energy. In that we have seen strain energy due to axial load, strain energy due to bending, and strain energy due to shear. So and there also we have seen it is just representation of the stress strain plot or the load deflection plot. So delta is equal to integral p dash into e dv, where p dash is the stress and e is the strain. Any terminology we can use, any terminology. At a point, due to unit load, let us consider, because we are trying to use the unit load concept, let us try to say that p dash is the stress due to unit load, and but the strain is due to the applied load, See, there's a question, why the stress is considered for unit and why strain is considered for the applied. Now unit load is a fictitious or dummy kind of a load which will later be replaced by the original parameters. But when it talks about strain, a strain in a body, first strain comes and then the stress. So a strain in a body is because of the applied load. So that is why we have chosen the stress due to the unit load and the strain due to the applied load. Now this can also be written as, so for example, if you are trying to take the pin jointed frame, there is only one stress, that is direct stress, that means normal stress due to the application of vertical load or horizontal load. So this stress, when we try to put it, we are integrating it, right? So because we are integrating it with respect to volume. So pin jointed frame, for pin jointed frame or truss or a truss, only direct stress will be present. Only direct stress, only direct stress will be present. That means uh, it will be subjected to vertical load and the horizontal load. Only direct stress will be there, will be present. So considering that, now we can write that delta is equal to integral P dash E dV can be written as integral P dash E into A into L, isn't it? A into L. So what is A into L? So that let this capital P dash be stress due to unit load. So earlier we have written the value. So P dash into E into AL. So this can be, of course, here this is the limit, not integration. We have converted it. So when we converted it, it is E sigma P dash E into AL. So dV is the volume. How do we get volume? Volume is equal to area into length. So why sigma? There are so many members of the truss. So for all the members, it is considered. Area is the cross section area and L is the length. Now what is P dash? So stress is equal to load by area. So here let me write A is the area of cross section and L is the length of the member. Length of the member. Sigma means summation of all members. So or we can say for all the members. For all the members. Now, so we know that stress, so this is stress is equal to force by area. Force by area. In this case, P dash is equal to unit force by area. Unit force by area. That is equal to K by A. So we have introduced a term called K, which represents the unit force, force in the member due to unit load. I will write that. So K is equal to force in the member due to unit load, isn't it? Yes. So when there is a unit load, what are all the forces in the member? That is represented by K. Now let us see what is strain. So strain is equal to E is equal to P by A into 1 by E, isn't it? So this is due to external load. This is due to external load. So P by I is stress and 1 by E. So stress by Young's modulus. So actually how do we get it? So E is equal to sigma by E. That is equal to P by AE. Correct, right? So that like that we have got this expression. Now what are we trying to do? Let us try to substitute these both into the initial expression of delta. So let us try to substitute in equation 1 and see what are we going to get out of it. So delta is equal to sigma. What is P dash? K by A into what is E? P by AE into AL. P by AE into AL. This gets cancelled. What are we getting now? What are we getting now? Sigma PKL by AE is equal to sigma PKL by AE. So this is the formula that we need to use for the calculation of deflection of a pin jointed frame using unit load method. Using unit load method. What is capital P? Forces in all the members of the truss due to external load. I will write it separately so that you will not forget it. So PKL by AE. PKL by AE. So delta is equal to sigma of PKL by AE, where P is equal to forces in all the members of the truss, all the members of the truss due to external load, due to external load, and K forces in all the members of the truss due to unit load, due to unit load applied at a point, at a point where deflection is to be calculated, where deflection is to be calculated. Yes. Okay. And A is the cross sectional area of all the members. Cross sectional area of all the members. And length of all the members of the truss. And E is modulus of elasticity. Modulus of elasticity. Yes. So this is how we try to calculate the deflection of a pin jointed frame using unit load method. Now let us see step by step process. How do we solve it using a step by step method? Step by step process for analysis of truss using unit load method. Okay. Now, first step. So you will be given with a truss. So we have already seen how to analyze a truss. So how many methods are there? There are three methods to analyze a truss: method of joints, method of sections, tension coefficient method. Any one of the method we can choose. But worldwide, universally accepted and popular method is the method of joints. Is the method of joints. So first step, you will be given with a truss and you will be asked to calculate the horizontal deflection or the vertical deflection at any given point. So, so here let me put it that if we are trying to calculate a deflection at a point, I'll also sketch a figure for your better understanding, so that you will get to know how we are using this method. So if this is the truss, I'm just giving an example. It can be anything. So it is subjected to 6x, I mean some kilonewton, P kilonewton, and this is pinned, this is roller. So A, B, C, D. So if we want to calculate delta CH and delta CV, we have to calculate deflection at C horizontally, deflection at C vertically. Okay. Now let us see what do we need to do, step by step process of what we need to do. So first step, analyze the truss, analyze the truss using method of joints, using method of joints with external load, with external load. So what does that mean? So first we will calculate reactions, and second, forces in all the members of the truss, forces in all the members. Okay, and this specific calculation will give us capital P. We have PKL by AE, right? So we have capital P from this step. Second step, remove external load, remove external load and apply unit load, vertical for delta HB, delta CV, comma, first let us say vertical. Let us try to talk about horizontal later. So first unit load, vertical. So that means what will this happen? This truss, you see here, I am removing the load P. So this will be 1 kilonewton. 1 kilonewton. And in this, what do we need to do? Calculate reactions, first step, and B, forces in all the members due to unit load at C. So this is point C. Simple. So now concept is same, right? Again same method of joints. Remove X, apply unit load and analyze using method of joints. MOJ means method of joints. Method of joints. So if at all, if you are asked to calculate only vertical deflection, then this point will be K1. This point will be K1. Next, what is third step now? Remove external load. Here also same. No external load should be there. Remove external load and apply unit load, that is horizontal, for delta CH and analyze using method of joint. Same process again. But remember, not always we need to calculate both the deflections. If it is for exam point of view, we need to calculate it only if we are asked to do so. Only when we are asked to do so. So what is that we are doing now? So again truss. So we are applying a horizontal 1 kilonewton. All other things are same. This is C. So what do we need to do? Reactions first again here and here, and second, forces in all the members due to horizontal unit load at C. So this will give us K2. Now what do we need to do? We have the tabular form like member, okay, P, K1, K2, A, L. So like that we will write, so A, B, okay. So this is A, B, C, D. So A, B, A, C, A, D, okay. B, C, B, D, C, D, isn't it? Now we will write all the forces here. This is due to external load. This is for vertical deflection. This is for horizontal deflection. And areas of the cross-sectional members will be provided to us. So finally, what do we need to do? We need to summate all the values. So see here, we will write the tabular form neatly like we used to do it earlier. And that is why sigma is used. Why sigma is used? Sigma is used because we are trying to summate it for all the parameters. Summate it for all the parameters. So if you have another space, you can write, I'm just giving an example. If you have some space here, you can write here itself pk1l by ae and pk2l also, okay. pk1l by ae, pk2l by ae. So what does that mean here? What you will get? So you have the force, so member in one table only, you will get everything. P, K1, K2, A, L, PK1L by AE, PK2L by AE. So once you do it for all, so last you will get it like for all the members, sigma of PK1L by AE. This is your delta CB. And what you will get here? Delta CH is equal to sigma of PK2L by AE. Okay. So this is how we need to analyze a truss using method of joints. So if you are asked only vertical deflection, but there is no horizontal deflection, straightforward that is taken as capital K or whatever K you want and PKL by AE. If you are asked horizontal deflection, that will also become K. But if you are asked both the cases, you will be having to solve the forces in all the members due to external force, due to unit loads, and combine. So method of joints is like that, very important. So now what will happen once we get to know the deflection practically, why this deflection value is important? So if I get to know that this joint is actually deflecting by 2 mm, 3 mm, 4 mm, so what all should I need to do? Do I need to adjust the connection there? Do I need to adjust any sort of technique? Do I need to adapt to the joint so that it will be safeguarded? And whenever we are designing a bridge truss shaped structure, we will get to know how much maximum deflection that it should undergo. And based on our calculation, we need to see whether the deflection that we have calculated is greater than or less than the specified value. So this is what we will study in failure theories. So what are the maximum shear stress theory, maximum normal stress theory would talk about? A member or a structure or a material will fail if the maximum normal stress of an element or a beam or a member crosses beyond the permissible stress of that member, then it will fail. That is what we will write in the failure theory expression. Similarly, maximum shear stress. If the maximum shear stress of a member exceeds the permissible stress of that member, permissible shear stress of that member, then the member will fail. So like that, we have maximum normal stress theory, maximum principal stress theory, maximum shear stress theory, maximum strain energy theory, and maximum distortional energy theory. And which theory we are closely associated in this concept? Trusses are subjected to direct stress. So maximum normal stress theory, and we are using unit load method, that is maximum strain energy theory. So this is how interlinking will happen theoretically as well as practically, linking both the concepts and understanding the failure phenomena of every structural member. And our responsibility is to make it safe by analyzing and choosing an appropriate dimensions. Okay, so this is how we need to analyze a truss for the calculation of deflection using unit load method. Okay, in the next class we will see how to solve a problem using unit load method for the analysis of truss. So thank you all and see you in the next class.